Welcome to Survival on a Budget Made Easy. In this video, we're taking a look at Fort Richie. I came back to see if anything has been updated, if any of the buildings have gone up, because they're planning on renovation. But right now, it really doesn't look like it's happening. But I did find out they have a historic museum on the property. So we're gonna go ahead, go in here, take a quick look. Then we'll go around Fort Richie itself and see if there's been any improvement or changes. More on that right after this. Welcome back to Survival on a Budget Made Easy. Now, the historic area is located in the community center. They do have a few photographs and displays up. Let's go ahead and head into the actual museum area. About 1889, the Buena Vista Ice Company of Philadelphia purchased 400 acres of the land where Fort Richie now stands. The company planned to cut natural ice from the man-made lake and ship it to Baltimore, Washington, and southern markets via the Western Maryland Railroad's Baltimore-Hagerstown line. The first artificial lake was built in approximately 1901 and named Lake Royer, also known as the Lower Lake. A railroad spur off the Western Maryland line was built alongside the southeastern shore of Lake Royer. Unfortunately, the locomotive's exhaust lead stood on the ice, so a second artificial, the upper lake, was constructed far enough away from the track so that the ice would remain clean for cutting. The Buena Vista Ice Company's Lake Royer also served as a recreational spot during the summer tourist season. Demand for natural ice declined over the years, and Buena Vista Ice Company discontinued operations at that site. In 1926, the Maryland National Guard investigated several locations in searching for a new summer training camp. A decision in favor of the ice company property was primarily based on its proximity to the Western Maryland Railway and the telegraph line. It was controlled by Maryland National Guard from 1926 to 1942. The U.S. Army activated the Military Intelligence Center, MITC, on June 19, 1942 and trained 19,600 intelligence troops, including the Ritchie Boys. Support for Raven Rock Mountain Complex transferred to Fort Detrick on October 1, 1997. Fort Richie was closed in 1998 under the 1995 Base Realignment and Closure Commission. The Ritchie Boys consisted of approximately 15,200 servicemen who were trained for U.S. Army intelligence during World War II at the secret Camp Ritchie training facility. Approximately 14%, or 2,200 of them, were Jewish refugees born in Germany and Austria. Most of the men sent to Fort Richie for training were assigned there because of fluency in German, French, Italian, Polish, or other languages needed by the U.S. military during World War II. They had been drafted into or volunteered to join the United States Army, and when their ability to speak the language of enemy was discovered, they were sent to Camp Ritchie on secret orders. Some of the Jewish refugees who were part of the program had originally arrived in the U.S. as children, many without their parents, and were also among the 1,000 children. One such OTC was Ambassador Richard Sitter. They were trained at the Military Intelligence Training Center at Camp Ritchie in Maryland, now officially known as Fort Ritchie. They were specially trained in methods of intelligence, counterintelligence, interrogation, investigation, and psychological warfare. 900 of these men also attended special training at Camp Spear, PA. The Jewish refugees were qualified for these tasks because they knew the German language and they understood the German mentality and behavior better than most American-born soldiers. The role of these soldiers was transferred to work in front lines or even behind them, at strategic corps in the Army's levels, at interrogation, analyzing joint forces and plans, and also to study the demoralization of the enemy. The majority of them went on to work as members of the U.S. Counterintelligence Corps. After the German declaration of war against the United States on December 11, 1941, the Ritchie Boys became an important weapon for the Allies. Many of them entered on D-Day, the 6th of June, 1944. Others followed over time. They were able to feed the Allies valuable information. General Oscar Couch, General Patton G2, acknowledged that the advance warning of the German Bulge offensive was made possible by information gathered by their MIS units. Moreover, the Ritchie Boys helped break German resistance by demoralizing them in both open and covert operations. They interrogated POWs and defectors to obtain information about German force levels, troop movements, and the physical and psychological state of the Germans. A common interrogation tactic was to use the Germans' fear of transferring to Soviet custody. A common interrogation tactic was to use the Germans' fear of transfer into Soviet custody. By means of targeted disinformation via newspaper announcements, flyers, radio broadcasts, and sound trucks, the German population and military were encouraged to cease their resistance to the Allied invasion. After the war, many of the Ritchie Boys served as translators and interrogators, some during the Nuremberg trials. Many of them went on to successful political, scientific, or business careers. The first ever reunion of the Ritchie Boys took place from the 23rd to 25th of July, 2011 at the Holocaust Memorial Center in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Another reunion was held June 2012 in Washington, D.C., and at Fort Richie, which by then had closed. In 2004, the group and its work was subject to documentary movie The Ritchie Boys by filmmaker Christine Bauer, featuring 10 of the Ritchie Boys. The property was sold to Corporate Office Properties Trust, COPT, for mixed-use development. As of the 2007 recession pressed on, Penmar Development Corporation took back ownership of the property in 2012. Fort Richie held Military Preparatory Academy under the direction of Dr. Robert Alexandra, National Role Models Academy, also known as College Core 2000 to 2002. Since then, the Penn Board worked to have Fort Richie designated as a sustainable community by the state of Maryland, which qualified the property for tax advantages and grants. The property had been cleaned up and the new project manager was hired to market the property in an effort to bring back some of the jobs lost when the Army departed. Several alternative uses for the property were being explored, with create a mix of uses that would include residential, commercial, recreational, and some light office industrial uses. Ultimately, Penmar fell into financial ruin, and the grounds were returned to Washington County government, which generally viewed the site as a financial loss. In an attempt to stop the monetary hemorrhaging, several members of the Washington County government traveled to South Korea in connection with the contractor called JGBLI, which secured approximately 60 acres of the ground on the opposing side of Lake Royer for development. The manner in which the land was transferred was highly controversial, with many residents and politicians citing violation of Maryland's public meeting laws. Many Cascade residents who lived on the site for decades were forced to move despite the fact their homes were not directly affected by the sale. After many failed attempts to come to an agreement on how the premises would be developed, JGBLI backed out of the total purchase of Fort Richie. Following this, several individuals have come forward in an attempt to secure the grounds for themselves, including a vineyard owner from the Potomac, Maryland, and the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. Ultimately, in 2012, Fort Richie was sold to John Crumpich, a local resident, for the cost of $1.5 million. Crumpich has made statements to the effect that he would like to preserve most of the fort while making some of the property mixed-use development in order to breathe life back into the quiet mountain town. In March of 2020, a lawsuit was filed against the county government and Crumpich by property investor from Frederick County, Maryland. A court ruled in favor of Crumpich in the county. However, an appeal was filed as of June 30th, 2020. The transfer of the property to Crumpich has been further delayed due to an appeal. According to a news article on local news outlet Herald Mail Media, a Washington County official said Tuesday that resolving litigation affecting the sale of former Fort Ritchie base should be wrapped up within a year, possibly sooner. Do me a favor, click on that subscribe button, and as always, thank you for watching.